Jackie, they talked about a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of time at home where you're not really there as they're thinking about this case. Now, on the confession, as you talked about, something really interesting the district attorney told us is that they considered making a part of the plea agreement that Christopher Watts would have to confess more about what happened that night. The district attorney told us that Shanann's family didn't think he would take that deal. Family didn't think he would take that deal. Family didn't think he would take that deal. We also learned much more about what prosecutors believe happened that night. You answered a lot of questions today, but we still don't know the question of why. How did this happen? How do you answer that question when you're the person who knows more than anybody?
I don't think I can answer that question, and that's what I really wanted to emphasize to Judge Kopkow. The inexplicable nature of what he did is you can't understand it. I didn't see a shred of remorse today. I didn't when he pled guilty on November 6th. I never did during the course of any of this investigation, any of the interviews with him. I think that he shed a tear for himself. I think he thought he was going to get away with it.
Was justice served here today?
I think justice was served in the best way we can in Colorado right now.
You mentioned in court that Shanann didn't have any defensive wounds. What does that mean?
What was odd or striking to me was, I think if somebody came up and put their hands around somebody's neck, the first thing a victim's going to do is grab onto the hands or the arms and try to pull them away, or scrape or claw or bite or whatever, to try and get that person's hands off of their throat. There wasn't anything like that in Shanann, and so that obviously caused us to think, was she sleeping? His statement to investigators was, they were very clearly, obviously dead, so I decided to dispose of their bodies. You didn't call 911. You didn't try CPR. You didn't even check on them to see if they were breathing. When you hear that, you're thinking, this just doesn't add up.
Original plea deal isn't the one you guys reached today, correct? Can you elaborate on what that would have been?
To be clear, there was only one plea deal, and that's the one that his attorneys brought to us. The deal, for lack of a better word, and I frankly despise that word, no offense, the agreement that was reached was he would plead guilty to every count we charged him with. In exchange, if he pled guilty to each and every count in the complaint information, we would not seek the death penalty. That was an offer brought to us by the defense. That's when, I've talked about this before, Mr. Wren and I felt compelled to get on a plane and go see the Rusicks in North Carolina, because that was a conversation that I was only going to have with them face to face.
First, I just want to talk about the speed of this case. You know, these murders happened just 3 months ago in August. This case is now already wrapped up with the plea and the sentencing today. How unusual is it to have such a high-profile case wrap up so quickly?
Oh, I think it's very unusual. I can't really speak to the speed from the defense side, what their thought process was. I think that once we had an arrangement or an agreement where the death penalty was taken off the table, I think that makes it all the more likely that it is going to resolve that quickly. But I talked to Shanann's family after this today, and I said, I hope this gives a little bit of closure. It was fast, but anything we can do to try to get them on the road to healing is important. And so from that perspective, I appreciate the fact that it got done this quickly.